People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, I've offered my thoughts in relation to the draw against Sheffield United. 1-1 if you haven't known the score. Can't imagine you don't. I've talked about the player ratings, but I've still got some thoughts. So, if nothing more, just allow me to ramble on and get this off my chest and feel a bit better as I come to terms with dropping 2 points and playing Chelsea on Tuesday. Listen, I'm happy with Arteta, so let's disregard Arteta to a slight degree. I feel for me, as much as I talk about what I'm seeing Arteta doing right now, people, and you know it's obviously early days, but instantly you see what we're trying to do. I feel disregarding Arteta, I feel that's only 50% of the job. I talk about the board, I talk about Arteta. Obviously we need better players, but collectively as a group, whether they have a future here or not, I'm big on active thinkers. I'm not comparing them ability-wise, because a lot of them can't lace boots with Vieira, with Henry, with not just at Arsenal, Rio Ferdinand of United. Obviously, I ain't gonna name no Spurs lads because they ain't won nothing. Spurs fans, I gotta do it. We drop points like you lot today, and all these other teams that have won stuff or held in accolades. Yeah, even Klopp's thing right now at Liverpool. Listen, the manager can tell them things, but the players are active thinkers. Like going back to my grassroots days with the Black Pep Guardiola, Darren might, if between us knowing about Arsene Wenger and him managing me in my grassroots days, I wouldn't be here making football videos. That he really changed the way I look at football. And why did he do that? He could tell me the tactics and what I did wrong and what we need to do, but he was active thinking. We knew if we were drawing games, okay, we thought to ourselves, why are we drawing games? In game situations, when we've gone a goal up, we're thinking to ourselves, okay, given the context, because we know Sheffield are this and this, we need to do this and this. And I feel Arteta can only hold these players, young and old, he can only hold these players' hands so much. These players have got to be active thinkers. I'm not trying to scapegoat players or say anything, because no one was poor today, like, get out the club and all that, voila, do you get it? But, I'm looking at David Luiz, I'm looking at Xhaka, I'm looking at Mesut Ozil, I'm looking at Lacazette, even Pepe to a fair degree. I'm looking at Leno. Regardless of what you say about Mustafi and these experienced players, you lot should be actively thinking, okay, we didn't necessarily deserve to go 1-0 up in that game. We weren't poor and Sheffield weren't amazing, but we didn't really do anything apart from them man there down the left-hand side, Martinelli and Saka. Do we not think to ourselves, okay, let's rein it in a bit, let's see out this league, go for the 1-0, or let's go and get 3-4. And it didn't look like we had a plan in that regards. Arteta looked like he was telling them for all the time, and I forgot to mention it, but being at the game, Sheffield United were out early in the second half, people, substantially early than we came out. So Arteta must have said a mad thing in the dressing room. And there was a reaction in the second half to a degree, but it's again game management. It's another game like Palace, and in general, whether Arteta's been here or not, where we've taken a lead where there's 3 points and we're now taking 1 point, or in some scenarios we've not taken any. Disregarding prior to Arteta's reign, because clean slate and all these things, these players need to be looking at the victory against United. I know we won, but remember that second half where we rid our luck a bit. Different contexts today and then, because it was more we ran out of gas then, and we were just poor and it really create today, in my opinion, and just didn't really start the game well. The defeat to Chelsea where we should have won, but shouldas and couldas and ifs and buts, we can't deal with that factor. We lost that game in the last 10 to 7 minutes. Game management. So if you add that up, obviously messing about against Palace, and obviously whatever you think, whatever you've got to say about this game, being 1-0 up in short and not taking 3 points, that's another game to add to it. So listen, I'm sure I have to hope that these players collectively are getting together, or individually they're stopping and thinking, rah, like we've done all right. We need to create a bit more. We need to shoot a bit more, because that's another debate for today. But we need to manage games out, because sometimes we've played poor and sometimes we've played poor, sometimes we've won, sometimes there's been different contexts in the game, innit? But there's been a common denominator in terms of our game management. So are the players saying to themselves, we need to right these wrongs? Like, Arteta can give them all the information, the players, and they have been fairly receptive. I'm giving them the plaudits to what Arteta is doing, but I'm just saying, they need to start thinking for themselves. Arteta should less be a teacher, which we need him to teach people, but less of a teacher and more facilitator. It should just be a facilitating, reinforcing voice. You should know what to do. You should be able to figure these things out for yourselves. It does feel like the players need their hands held, and ironically, it's not even the young players, the ones you'd expect, like, to a degree, because Saka and Martinelli put in the shift today. Like I said, it's not a game where everyone was poor and like blamed on. We were just lackluster, a bit lethargic, didn't start the game well, and ultimately game management. And listen, we were poor in possession. A number of players, everybody was fairly poor apart from the names listed, including Pepe, if I haven't said that, or no one was at their best in possession. Collectively, we haven't been doing what Arteta's been showing us recently in terms of being on the ball by any stretch of the imagination. So I hope these players learn from this, really and truly. What I will say about Pepe, I think he had an encouraging performance today. He ran out of gas in the second half, and I felt he would have got subbed. But for me, he needs to start playing with a bit more decisiveness. He's a very good baller. Sometimes he can stop it short, and he doesn't always need to, and he skills a man up, but he needs to score, like take a shot or cut in and stuff. It does seem like he's in two minds a lot. I felt Maitland-Niles had a decent game today, but he could have done a bit more in the attacking sense. Not just saying that it was just these two people, but this is what I'm talking about in terms of being active thinkers. Like, there's only so much one-to-one coaching, collective coaching, reinforcing statements Arteta can do. It's about how much these players themselves want to improve collectively as a team and how much they want to improve as individuals. I do think they're going out there and trying to improve, and I'm not saying they're not, but it's how bad do they want it. And games like today and games like Palace is where we've got to learn from, because we've got to go to the Bridge on Tuesday. Ironically, under Emery, in his first year, we was decent at the Bridge and we didn't get the result. But that's not a ground we travel well to, and I hope we win, but Lord knows what's going to happen. If worse comes to worse, I'm just hoping for a credible performance. But I've got nothing more to say. I'm going to get out of here. People, Deluded. I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking. Your support means the world. Comment, subscribe, and do the rest.